Hello again, thanks for tuning in. On Saturday the 15th, just this weekend past, there was an incident in Birmingham at a hospital. A young gentleman was stabbed. It appears like he's now stable in hospital, but on Saturday afternoon he was rushed in to Birmingham Hospital, and it certainly appears as if something went on. A group of people stormed the hospital for an unknown reason. No reports as to what that is, nothing to say what it wasn't, or, what was the general reason why. So it's all a little bit strange. Now, I did have a look at the BBC website to check what they had to say on the matter. And the website story doesn't comment on the actual incident itself. It comments on the fact that there was some sort of protest the day after the incident. So on Sunday, there was a group of people got together and they were holding a protest about knife crime in the area. And whilst this is perfectly fine if that's what you want to spend your time doing, the BBC seems to have ignored the actual fact of what actually happened. At the bottom of the article, it states that there is a hospital disorder probe, which is quite a nice way to put it. It states that reports about ambulances being raided were untrue, and that the rumours about specifically the ambulances were not true. So the BBC article is essentially claiming there's nothing to see here. But the police did confirm that at some point they placed the hospital into lockdown. Now this would seem to indicate that there's more going on here than initially meets the eye. When these stories tend to pop out, they don't come from nowhere. They generate from an actual thing happening in society. And I think what the BBC were doing here, in their way that they were reporting it, was essentially trying to whitewash the story and place the emphasis onto the protest the next day, while completely ignoring that there was something happened there. And the police did actually have to place the hospital into some sort of lockdown for whatever reason went on. Now, after this, and since then, it has been commented a lot on X, multiple times by a number of respectable people on there, that the UK is becoming a more dangerous place. So I was actually thinking about this, and this incident did make me wonder. It made me stop and have a think about it. And the questions that sprang up is the UK actually getting worse for crime? From my perspective, certainly in London and the south of the country, it would seem to be, especially from my experience with the media. Although, to be fair, that's just my experience with the media. I can't 100% know what's happening, but certainly it would appear as if the crime down there is a lot worse. Now, a story that's closer to my heart is of my wife and daughter. So a few years ago, we used to go down to London as a family when it was possible to reasonably afford, without it being too much money, a trip down there, weekend down London, a couple of times a year. We used to go and take in a show and go out for something to eat, stay in a hotel, come back the next day on the train. Now, recently, like a few years back, 2 or 3 years, we basically as a family thought, well, I'm not loving the shows that much. My wife and daughter do like the shows, so I stopped going. We thought, well, they can jump on a train, get themselves down to London, and they can enjoy the day and then come back. Now, the last few times they've been, there's been incidents happening, particularly one incident where the train carriage that they were on literally went up and everyone started fighting on it. It was full of drunken people. They had to come back early because there was a problem with the hotel. They didn't get out till late from the show. And there was a massive brawl where my wife and daughter were basically cowering in the corner of the carriage. And then after it, everyone kind of just shook hands and got off the plane. There was no police, nothing. Likewise in London. There's my wife said there's a different feel down in London now. And the last time I went down, I did notice a different type of a feeling. It didn't feel like London to me. And so as a result of these last things that have happened, that brawl on the train was the last straw. So now London has lost that revenue. Likewise, Dublin. My wife and daughter have been over to Dublin. No more. No more going to Dublin, no more going to London. Simply because when they walk out of, say, a show at 10 o'clock, it's not safe for them to walk across London on a Saturday evening, 15 minutes to get to a hotel. It's just not safe. And so as a result of that, places like London, places like Dublin have lost that revenue. But that's a separate story. That's just a story that's closer to home for me. And so thinking about the state of crime in this country, it did actually send me off on a little bit of an internet odyssey. And I have checked various websites, and I came across quite an interesting site relating to the top 25 most dangerous areas of England and Wales, which were revealed in this article. So I'm just going to go through the top 10. Sadly for me, Newcastle is on here, number 21, with violent crime. This was up until the start of 2024, like May 2024. In Newcastle, violent crime, there was 13,217 violent crime offences, and the crime rate was 123 crimes per 1,000 people, which is relatively high for the country, but it's nowhere near the top 10. So just looking at the worst places to live, essentially, or the least safe or most dangerous places to live, at number 10 we've got Doncaster, with violent crime at 14,800. 134 crimes per 1,000. We've got Hull at number 9, Liverpool at number 8, Hartlepool at number 7, Blackpool at number 6, Kensington and Chelsea at number 5, although not that many violent crime incidents there, 4,624, they have a high rate of crimes amongst the people, so 160 crimes per 1,000 people. Then we've got Middlesbrough at number 4, Manchester number 3, Camden at number 2. And the strange one, coming in at number 1, the most dangerous area of England and Wales, strangely enough, is the hub for all things written into law and governance, which is Westminster. Home to the Houses of Parliament. They do get a lot of tourists there, but regardless of anything else, they have a crime rate of 440 crimes per 1,000 residents. Violent crimes just under 12,000, but it's theft there at 65,000 incidents, which is almost the highest in the whole country. So quite strange that in our capital, in the place where laws are made, that they should have the highest crime rate due to the tourists and potentially the cosmopolitan nature of London. Because after all, to my mind, London doesn't feel like London anymore. It feels like something alien and strange. So just to finish up, just some key trends here. On the rise, shoplifting up 36%. Well, we all know about that. It's on there. You can't stop people waltzing into Greggs and grabbing a few yum-yums or a few pasties and a bottle of Coke off the shelf and walking out. The staff just stand round and gawp at them while these people laugh in their faces. And this is happening all over the country. And I believe in London it's reaching epidemic proportions, because you've got people running into large stores just grabbing huge handfuls of expensive clothing and walking out with them. And essentially the security guards are just staring at them because they're so scared of getting sued themselves. Theft from the person is up 18%, and robbery is up 13%. And so generally speaking, if we're looking at, is the UK actually a more dangerous place? The answer to that is yes. Violent crime is up, knife crime is up, violent robberies are up, and just to cover the overview of the main crimes here, we've got robbery over England and Wales. This was up till 2024. we're looking at an increase in robbery of 8%, knife and sharp instruments at 4%, and murders have just about levelled off. So I suppose that's one benefit, or one thing that's held there. The rest of the crimes on there, we're looking at fraud is down, but violence with and without injury is up 13%. So all in all, you would have to really say that on the whole, that yes, it is a more dangerous place to live, and I think Birmingham and other incidents of that nature are just going to continue to increase and increase, and the police don't really seem like they have any strategies to deal with it, sadly. Thanks for your time. Bye bye.